we have with us Mr. Soumitra Bhattacharya, the President and MD at Bosch, to talk to us about their numbers, because it was a decent set coming in, though the commentary going forward is a tad bit cautionary. And hi, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you joining us, Mr. Bhattacharya, on the show. My first question is regarding that commentary itself. You're talking about how 2023 can be a challenging year and how India is not likely to be immune with respect to that. What's making you that cautious? Because at least we were starting to hear murmurs about a bit of recovery coming in from rural India. You're not seeing that?
Thank you very much for having me on your show. I think we have to understand this with a word of caution that the world in the year FY22-23 has had serious challenges. And it was even predicted that in FY23-24, there would be some countries who could possibly get into recession. So first, let's remember that the major macroeconomics haven't changed. The war is still going on. It's nearly a year now. There is a high inflation in many of the developed countries. And the situation in China hasn't completely eased out, including the various links between China and India. So I would say the next year, FY23-24, I think all of us need to be a little cautious. If I look at India, we are relatively in a sweeter spot, relatively. And if I look at the automotive market, till today, it has done well. And of course, we have to look at sectorially. They're not all parts, and that we can go into later.
Yes, indeed, we can. Mr. Bhattacharya, hi there. Good morning. Good afternoon, rather. And I just wanted to understand your outlook in terms of now what you're projecting with respect to a little bit of caution across the globe. While you said India is in a sweet spot, do you think that we can then see your overall FY23 revenue perhaps surpass those FY19 levels, that it can be higher than 15%?
So if you look at revenues and on FY19 versus if I look at FY22-23, and we never give guidance, but you just have to look at up to Q3. Today, in the last couple of quarters, we are touching around 3,600 crores each of these quarters. And if you look at 1 year or more, back, we were in the region of 2,600, 2,800. So there has been, I would say, a consistent improvement on the revenues. And the revenues are a part of both the economics and how the automotive market is doing. But also these revenues reflect on our acquisition, which I would say we had a very strong acquisition on BS4 to BS6. We have a strong set of acquisitions in the FY22-23 for the TREM 4, TREM 5, and the various other legislative changes that are to take place both in FY23-24 and in FY24-25. So order books are good acquisition values. We expect that the government will stay with the legislation roadmap, because that's very important for India, because then we can leapfrog. We hope that inflation will be controlled so that this sustainable growth that you see can continue. And we are looking forward in a cautious manner a little bit because of the macro, but also optimistically based on the Indian economy, that we would have a good set of growth figures also for FY23-24.
Sure. So 15% seems to be in the bag for FY23, and what I understand and infer from what you're saying, that at least double-digit growth will continue in FY24, maybe mid-teens, but that's the level to watch out for. Also wanted your comment regarding margins as well. It continues to be around the 12% mark. What's the timeline that we can expect the margins to head back to those 15-16% range that we used to see around FY18-19?
Yeah, again, that's a leading question, but I would give the generic answer. First, we have to see, that it's not about Bosch, it's about the industry. In an industry where the, raw material prices went up, where the electronic components prices went up, the logistics costs went up, in that industry, in this quarter, for example, we have had an EBITDA of 11%. Yeah. Of course, we still continue to have very strong cash flows. And we did see a dip in our EBIT at 8.1%. However, that has a few one-time elements. Like there is a very clear one-time element of about 350 million or 35 crores on our warranty. We have a one-time element of about 300 million or 30 crores on Forex. And of course, we have on this particular quarter of October to December also invested a little more in our new business areas. So that's around 2.5 percentage points. So the point I'm trying to say is two things. One, automotive industry has gone through the pressures of cost across the board. We as Bosch are not spared from it, while we have done substantial course correction measures. Second, we have an EBITDA of 11%, which of course we would like to further improve. We have an EBIT of 8.1%, which of course we want to take to a double digit. And we have had a few one-time hits this quarter.
Bhattacharya, just wanted to get a sense from you and come back to the first, a comment coming in from you that each of the segment needs to be looked differently. If that's the case, what are the trends that you're seeing, let's say in commercial vehicles, two-wheelers, tractors, etc.? If you can talk to us about how each of these verticals are doing.
Excellent. It's a very good comment that you made. We have seen a remarkable growth in the passenger cars. If you remember in FY 18-19, that India had touched 4 million. And in FY 22-23, we are likely to cross the 4.4 million. So that's a big change. And we are, of course, likely, if the GDP is going to be around 6%, we have a possibility of seeing that to 4.7 or maybe even 4.8 million. So in passenger cars, a remarkable turnaround, higher value cars. Of course, they're selling at a higher value too, but costs have also gone down. And we ourselves, as I said, first year to the OEMs, have to take care that, we have to manage our costs on these challenging terms. On heavy commercial vehicles, the 480,000 that happened in FY 18-19 is likely not to happen. We are in the region of 370, but they are comparing apples with oranges. 480,000 did not have the tonnage that we see today. There's a far higher increase on the tonnage over the last 5 years. The kilometers per day traveled has gone up anywhere between 30 up to 40%. So they're traveling faster due to FASTag, roads, tolls going out. The tonnage has gone up, and therefore the volume of 480,000 is going to take a long time to come. Two-wheelers, which have touched 25 million in 18-19, is likely not to be seen for the next few years. We are likely to be anywhere between 20 to 20.5 million because the base price of two-wheelers is far different from the 18-19 numbers. Also, the fuel injection system from the carburetor has gone into injection system. So I can go on and on, but I would say LCVs have been already crossed the peak and going further. Passenger cars have done the same. Tractors had already reached very quickly and doing well, and depends a lot on the mood and also the support price that the farmers get, and finally the rains. And finally, three-wheelers, COVID took a toll, and the 1.25 million is not to be reached right now, but you can expect 800,000, around 800,000 to 900,000.
All right, would have loved to interact with you further and gotten more perspective, but completely out of time, so we'll leave it there, Mr. Bhattacharya. Good to have you on board, giving us a view on the quarterly performance.